I had had enough.
Well, you drove out there into the middle of nowhere and had some sort of loud verbal display challenging ET in general out in the middle of nowhere?
That's what I was doing. I actually had a pistol in my hand at the time. I was really ticked off. When I was having this fit, I was waving the gun in the air, okay, and I had this fit. And at this moment, I said, okay.
He was a Louisiana man named Montaldo. Folks around called him Six Gun Joe. Worked with ICAR, don't you know? Investigating UFOs. Out for a drive with a gal one night, they stopped to check out the reporting site. When an alien lit right there on the ground, he commenced to throwing his weight around. Now, old Six Gun didn't take too kindly to that kind of thing, especially without Vaseline or anything like that, you know. Seriously. Well, Six Gun looked that critter right in the eye and said, "Any last wish before you die?" Yo, reached for his gun, quick as a twitch, and said, "Fill your claw, you son of a bitch." Now a legend spread across the land about this pistol-waving man. But if you're from space or from Earth below, you don't give no lip to Six Gun Joe.
Welcome to Don't Whistle at Night podcast, where Navajo legends echo in the shadows. Darren and Dawn will guide you through the sacred fire of native storytelling, where the old stories breathe, the unknown walks among us, and voices, long hidden, rise to be heard. And remember, don't whistle at night.
Hey, hello, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Into the Night with me, your host, Sean Kelly. What a beautiful Sunday. It is right now in Pittsburgh, 61 degrees. Can you freaking imagine that? Last week, it was like in the teens. Now it's 61 degrees. Hello there, Miss Sally, Mr. Kirk, Miss Heidi, Mr. Kevin. Good to see you for popping in tonight. Just want to a couple of announcements I need to make. Joni, good to see you. Thank you for popping in. Hey, Pause, good to see you, buddy. Just wanted to tell everybody that I'm going to thank UPRN Talk Radio, 105.3 Mississippi, 107.7 New Orleans, for allowing me to give you 2 nights a week, 1 hour on Sundays and 1 hour on Tuesday nights. And it's 8:10 to 9:10 p.m. Also, you got to remember, too, that right after my show, it is Don't Whistle at Night podcast. And that is with Mr. Don Yazzie. And he has a good guest on tonight. So his podcasts are famous. I call them. They're famous. But, this is what it's all about. This is what being a host on a podcast talk radio show, okay? You get to bring people on. You get to talk to people. You get to bring in guests. Hey, Sonny Mitch, good to see you. Good to see you. And for doing that, okay, it gives me and it gives other hosts out there, other people have podcasts, the ability to open their mind. And Kenneth, how are you, sir? Um, and it just, I just enjoy this. I just enjoy this. And that's why I'm here to tell you how I feel, to give you what I believe in. You know, I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to criticize you or nothing. I mean, I'm here for everybody in the chat room, or even at the 160 countries that we are broadcasting who are watching my show tonight. Give them the opportunity to listen and to talk and to express how they feel, you know. And that's what this is all about, especially for me. Hey, Mish, what's good to see you? Good day to you. And well, there's a lot of good people in the room tonight. And I'm very grateful for everyone that's in the chat tonight. And I'm grateful for everybody out there who is listening to my show. I truly appreciate it. I mean, really, from the bottom of my heart, it's just, it just makes me feel good, you know. I am going to tell you this Tuesday, this is going to go. My hair is going to go. I'm getting a haircut, you know, because Santa Claus season's over with. So I'm going to be getting a haircut. So I'll surprise you. I don't know. Recommendations, anybody in the chat room? Should I shave the beard right here? Should I shave it or keep it going? Daniel McIntyre, McIntyre Painting. How are you, sir? You are painting. He's painting right now. Let me tell you about Mr. Daniel McIntyre. He has a business here. He's a painting business here in Pittsburgh, and he's a dear friend of mine. And don't shave anything, okay? And he just got done painting our house. I've known Daniel for a long, long, long time. I'm just hanging in there, brother, hanging in there. The house looks beautiful. So if anybody out there in the surrounding area, Pittsburgh or whatever, give him a call. He's too kind. Sean's the best. Thanks. Donna, good to see you. You're tempted to say, I got to see all these comments that popped up here about my shave. Sally's tempted to shave, trim it up. Okay, I will do that, Mish. Rosanna, Zana, Dana. I sure will, brother. Patty Nine Toes. Anybody that don't realize what happened, my brother, yeah, he got one of his toes amputated. Okay, and so we just call him Patrick Nine Toes or Patty Nine Toes. So whenever he's on the show, just remember to call him. It's not Patrick, it's Patty Nine Toes. Yeah, I remember when the nail came off his foot. Okay, I actually called him. I started to call him Stubby. Yeah, Stubby was his name. And then it went to Nine Toes. Charlie is with me. Oh, she said it's Sean. Tell her I said hello, Danny. Danny, Charlie is Danny's daughter, youngest daughter. So, hello. Hey, so glad to see you, Charlie. Good to see you. Shave for fresh New Year. Oh, gosh. I just. So, Heidi's saying can't effing wait for action. Okay. Hearts back to you too, Danny. But so my topic tonight, okay, before we get into the topic, how was everybody's Christmas? Did everybody have a good Christmas? Did everybody eat a lot of food and gain like 5 or 6 pounds over the weekend? I didn't. I couldn't eat. I wasn't feeling good, but I ate. Hey, Gary, good to see you. Mark Eddy, pleasure, man. Good to see you. Oh, there's a lot of good people in the chat room tonight. I love it, man. I love it. Well, I did a lot of cooking. I did a lot of cooking Christmas Eve, and I did a lot of cooking on Christmas Day. And, you know, as I was sweating over the hot stove and making all this food, you know, I come to realize that for me, cooking really, really Hey, Jenny Nicole. Oh my God, Jenny. Yes, good to see you, hon. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was a little under the weather, but Mish says I had a lovely Christmas and thanks. My salads were perfect. Good. Gary says I lost 20 pounds from food poisoning the week before. Oh, that ain't good, Gary. That ain't good. Good to see you, Jenny Nicasia. That's Jenny. Okay, a long, long time ago, she sent me a message and she said, "Do you want to become a podcaster and help me up?" And I said, "Sure." And that was what, almost close to 6 years ago, Jen. And and so that's how I got into podcasting. If it wasn't for Miss Nicasia over there, I don't know where I'd be today. Daniel says, Sean's the best. You are an amazing brother. Love you and talk soon. Love you too, brother. Love you too, Daniel. And so Jenny has her own show. She has Chasing Prophecy. Oh, shucks. Are you blushing now, Jenny? and but if it wasn't for Jenny, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have made so many wonderful friends. You know, she has Chasing Prophecy, and she also has a wonderful show. She has a great show, and every now and then I'll pop in and especially if we got if we got flatliners or flat earthers, if she has a flat earther on, who's the first person she calls? She calls me because I'll call them on their bullshit on the flat earthers. Oh yeah, absolutely. But so you want to be a paranormal investigator, huh? Heidi says I eyeballed a cheese ball at the store the other night. Should have bought it, Heidi. You only live once. But so you want to be a paranormal investigator. So anybody out there in the chat that wants to answer some of the questions, do you guys want to be a paranormal investigator? Well, I'll tell you what. It's hard, to be honest with you. I want mishes. Oh, okay. And it's hard. Okay, you spend a lot of time going out and doing investigations. I would say for me, the first 10, 11 investigations was a lot of fun. It really was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. Had a lot of people. We went to different places and we had a lot of fun. And the coolest thing about the investigations were that I had a digital camera back then, and it was like, I'd take about 400 pictures, and that's the truth. And the very next day I would go through all those pictures. And I'm telling you what, um, it was hard, especially at the beginning because you had to get kind of used to what you were looking at. Okay. Um, so and it took me a good while, I'd say about 3 to 4 months before I actually got it down to a science. So what I would do is I'd load up all those pictures on my laptop. And when I would scan through them, I'd be looking for, things that are, something that the picture does not look clear, or there's something off about the picture. And are we doing food porn now, guys? No, we're not doing no food porn, hon. No, we're just talking about, cooking. On Christmas, I did a lot of cooking on Christmas. No food porn. That is only for Saturday nights. Um, so, and that's how I did it. Each investigation, I would take a lot of pictures the next day, put them up on the computer, and see what I got. Now, at the beginning, when I started doing this, it was really hard for me to understand because at the beginning, it was so exciting. Couldn't wait to open up the laptop and look at the pictures, and everything that had a little ball in it, said, boy, that's an orb, that's an orb, that's an orb, that's an orb. And I was like, no, it ain't. I mean, it took me a while to understand that they weren't orbs. I understood that they could have been dew, they could have been mist, and it took a while for me to understand it. But if you were to ask me if I believe in orbs, I do. I definitely do believe in orbs, you know, and I'm not going to argue with you on it, because as I was, because for me, I don't judge people. I don't judge what you pick up. You know what I mean? I mean, if you look at it and you tell me the sky is like blue or not blue, but if it was like red, then I say, okay, the sky's red if that's what you think. And and that's how I am. I never judged anybody's evidence, you know. But I did learn at the beginning, okay, for me was that whenever I thought I got something good, I would show it to people and I would put it online. And boy, did I get ridiculed to death. Oh my goodness, did I get ridiculed? I mean, people are laughing at me. People thought I was crazy. They thought I was ridiculous, because at that time, it really just started getting going. I formed a group in 2006. And the year before, that's when TAPS came out. And so I was like, my group was part of the early stages of it, you know. But and I learned after a while, I don't put pictures up no more, and um, because I don't want to get ridiculed all the time. I know what I saw, I know what I felt, and I know when I took the picture. But a lot of people would come and say, "Well, I don't think this is this. I don't think this is that." You know, excuse me, and so I quit showing them. And whenever they like would say something, the first thing that came out of my mouth was, "Well, were you there at the investigation with me?" A lot of them say, "No, no." Heidi says, "I'm not about to use any of my energy to convince nobody, buddy." There you go. Man, maybe I should get Mish and Sally and all them out, for all them people to deal with all the naysayers out there. That would be cool. I can just imagine all the girls here in the chat, my friends, are like starting to stick up, and all of a sudden their claws come out of their fingernails, but you know, ripping their faces apart or whatever. I don't know. But I can actually see it happening. So being a paranormal investigator, and it's just not for ghosts, okay? They claim that cryptids, they claim, oh gosh, Bigfoot, anything that is totally unusual, UFOs, aliens, that is considered paranormal. And so, what I would like to do, what I might have to do, oh, I got you, Sean. I know you do. Thank you, Sally. Anger management here. This guy's messing with me. Take care of it. The claws are coming up. The claws will come out. But, like I said, there, you got Bigfoot, the cryptids, you got UFOs, you got aliens, and all kinds of other stuff that is paranormal. And the only thing that I can relate to the other paranormal people that do other things, is that we have a passion for it. We go out and do what we have to do in order to get. Okay, Michelle says, how do you protect yourself from ghost hunting? And do you need to do some protection for UFO hunting and Bigfoot hunting? Well, this answer to the second part of your question, Miss Mish, is I never been UFO hunting and I had never been Bigfoot hunting. But you know what? Honestly, hopefully this year I can go out with a couple people I know and we'll be able to, I want to go Bigfoot hunting. But how do I protect myself from ghost hunting? To be honest with you, I have two people that help me out. Okay. The first one is looking Lakota. You all know about Lakota. He's my wolf. He goes along with me. And the second one is my archangel, my guardian angel, and his name is Uriel, Uriel, Uriel. Okay. And if you want to understand a little bit more about the archangel Uriel, look him up. Heidi says, I'll be that witch showing always and always remember that story you've told. Yes. But yeah, that's who protects me, Mish. Yeah, when I go out there, you know. But I also have that a good relationship with the big guy upstairs. I do, and I'm not afraid to call him God. Okay, and I have a nice relationship with him, so he kind of protects me too. One of these days, I'm going to do a show where it's going to be how Pittsburgh Paranormal Society really actually became involved in the paranormal. Yes, absolutely. Well, everybody, it is 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and it's time for about a 2-minute break. So everybody, please go to the bathroom, have a cigarette, do what you got to do. Heidi, go feed Paws. He's hungry. And I will see you back in 2 minutes.
The night has come, it's cold and losing my control. Your light is gone, and lonely darkness fill my soul. I wish that you could save me from my isolation. It's way too complicated. Let's start this conversation. Let's start this conversation. We got no relation. I have come, it's cold and losing my control.
Are you ready to explore the unknown? Dive into the world of the strange, mysterious, and unexplained with Eerie Expeditions magazine. Each issue is packed with spine-tingling tales, cutting-edge paranormal investigations, and exclusive insights into hauntings, cryptids, UFOs, and more. Whether you're a seasoned investigator or just love a good ghost story, Eerie Expeditions magazine has something for you. Join our growing community of truth seekers and adventure lovers. Subscribe today at EerieExpeditionsMagazine.com and unlock the secrets of the supernatural. Are you ready? That's EerieExpeditionsMagazine.com, where the extraordinary is just a click away. Dare to
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the second part of Into the Night with me, your host, Sean Kelly. Again, I thank you, PRN Talk Radio, 105.3 Mississippi, 107.7 New Orleans, for allowing me to give you a show on Sunday and Tuesday nights. Thank you, Heidi. Sunday and Tuesday nights from 8:10 to 9:10 p.m. Don't forget, right after my show tonight, Don't Whistle at Night podcast with Mr. Don Yazzie. He has an awesome podcast. So after mine, just stick around, watch his, and tell him I said hello. He's a good dude. He's like a brother from her mother. Yes. But I know that at the beginning, we were talking about about how everybody's Christmases was. And and mine was great. And it seems like everybody else was okay. I did a lot of eating, I did a lot of cooking. But like I said, whenever, hey, Joe Fox, good to see you. Heidi says, Dawn and Darren are amazing. Sally says, Sean, I was looking at the old Facebook message, and apparently I sent PPS a message like 6 years ago about my house maybe being haunted. I never followed up, though. Well, is it still haunted, Sally? If it's still haunted, maybe we could take a ride out there, me and a couple other people, and see what's going on. I'd be more than happy to check it out for you. Um, yeah, 6 years ago is when I basically kind of like retired from the paranormal investigating, and that's when I kind of dropped PPS. But you know what? I do help other paranormal groups with their investigations, um, and all kinds of good stuff. I look at evidence that they got. Um, sometimes not put your foot down. Different house. I think it might be me who's haunted or cursed. Don't go there, Sally. Not on tonight. Tonight's a good show. Good night's a show. But we're okay, Sal. If that's how you feel, then it's okay. I'll send you some healing energy, and I'm sure everybody in the chat room will send you some healing energy too. Miss says I have a ghost in my house, an old German woman. She has kicked me. I'm telling you, girl, I've been kicked many a times, and from old women spirits, like great grandmas. And believe it or not, here in Pittsburgh, some of the houses that I did, they were like Slovakian old women, and I would get kicked or punched. Sometimes I would see them with a babushka on. It's funny. And there's times that I have done investigations where actually you walk in and you can actually smell them cooking. That's no lie. You can smell them cooking. And the aroma comes from the kitchens. And it just goes through the whole house. It's crazy. But I tell you what, another sign that I usually saw when I was dealing with some investigations, and I would smell. Remember, ladies out there, do you remember the perfume Jean Nete? Do you remember that? Jean Nete. It's the old women perfume. Heidi says my dad's house is active AF. I never experienced anything like what I have in there. I honestly think there's a portal throughout the center. I can imagine that. Scotsman, good to see you, sir. Kurt says old woman spirits are doing the most kicking. That's funny. Yeah. And his house is the most clear smelling house I've ever been since day one. But everybody remember the Jean Nete perfume, the one that your mothers or your grandmothers used to wear all the time. Yeah, I've done a lot of houses over in Lawrenceville, and my gosh, I would walk into the house and you could just smell the perfume. And another thing was we did a investigation. I forget where it was at, but we went and we investigated, and I sat in this chair and I got a strong sense of tobacco smoke. Yes, a strong whiff of tobacco, and I also got a strong whiff of coffee. Yes. And when I talked to the people, who were living there, the lady who was with part of the house, she started crying her eyes out. And I said, "You okay? Did I say something wrong?" And she said, "No, that's my grandfather. That's where he used to sit, smoking a pipe and drinking coffee." A lot of people think that if you go out and investigate that you need equipment, you need video cameras. Mr. Wojo, good to see you, sir. Wishing you many blessings too. I hope you had a nice Christmas. Kurt says, I smell my grandmother all the time. Her old perfume, not as much today. Okay. Uh, Joe Fox says a few years back I smelled my dead grandma. She loved and wore Jean de Tay, and she slapped my knee as I was laying on my living room floor, half asleep. Yeah, them granny ghosts, man, they can be hardcore. But I will tell you this, okay, and I've done a lot of investigations. This is true, to where, you know, young couples that have babies and they see stuff flying in the baby's room, or all kinds of stuff that really scared the living crap out of them. And we go there, and the first question out of my mouth, because I usually sat down and talked to them maybe 2-3 days before we would go and investigate. Because sometimes we didn't have to do the investigation; we could figure it out when we actually sat down. And what we call that in the paranormal field is called a walkthrough. Is what we do. We go 2-3 days before the investigation, and we sit down and talk to the owners. And when I sat down, I asked them a question. I said, "Listen, are you guys fighting?" I mean, I didn't hold back on my questions. I just said it sure. Are you guys fighting? Are you guys, bickering? And I would say 90% of the couples that we have done, you know, the words come out of their mouth, yes, we are fighting. And I said, that's your problem, why everything is going, hell and high waters. And they said, what are you talking about? I said, if I put a camera up in that baby's room right now, and y'all are fighting, yes, protection, yes. I said, your grandmas and your great grandmothers and grandfathers are protecting that baby. You are neglecting the baby according to the spirits. And after, not all of them, but some of them, really sat down and they thought about it. And I got emails, and it helped their marriage when they come to find out that, hey, maybe if we're a little bit nicer to each other, grandma and grandpa won't be so pissed off at us. You know what I mean? And it's true. It was true. If you're neglecting a baby or you're neglecting young children, and all hell breaks loose in your house, and you don't know where it's coming from, you better sit down and get right with Jesus. Kenneth said the old lady helped and played with my son when he was young. She would turn the electric heater on too for when we got home on days evening it got cold many times. He would laugh on cue at her. Yes. And you know what else is crazy, everybody? Thank you for sharing that, Kenneth. But that's the truth, what Kenneth said there. Yeah. Babies and cats are the best spirit seekers, man. They are. They can see spirits real well. And I remember one time Paul, my son, he was not even 6 months old. Okay. And I have an Uncle Paul and Aunt Penny. And I always wondered, because my dad died in 1985 and Paul was born in 1990. And I was always wondering, did my dad ever, showed up to him? Did he ever see my dad? And so I just took him up to my Uncle Paul and Aunt Penny's. Now my Uncle Paul looks exactly like my dad. Okay. And so Aunt Penny is like holding Paul like this, sitting on the couch. Well, Uncle Paul came around and looked at Paul, and Paul just took his hand and went like this, like hi, with a big smile on his face. And he never saw my Uncle Paul at all. Never. And then I knew right then and there that Paul had, my dad has been around for Paul. And he still is. But those are little things, not little, they're very important things. They might be small and little to you, but I tell you what, they mean a hell of a lot. Don't piss off a grandma or a great grandma's spirit. You just can't do that. You can't do it, or all hell's going to break loose. And a lot of investigations I did with houses like that, I blame TV and I blame, the movies. They're saying like, oh, it's a demonic. It's demonic. It's demonic. It's demonic. No, it's not demonic. It's not demonic. And that's what kind of like brings them in. I need to go and talk to them. Kenneth says she could stand my like the neighbor folded on the tent through here and kept her away from my son. I never let that neighbor around again. It's great, Kenneth. It's great. Honestly. Thank you for sharing all that. But that's how spirit works, especially with little children, especially with little children. I mean, I can't tell you what to do if you're fighting and all hell breaks loose, and then, you better come to Jesus moment there and sit down and try to figure out how this is going to work. Sally says, when my younger daughter was a baby, we said she had a wall friend because she would stare at a blank wall and kick and smell and make noises like she was trying to talk to someone. Thank you for sharing that, Sally. And there you go. You got two people in the chat room tonight, verifying about how grandmas and grandpas are there. Maybe they listen to them, maybe they talk, maybe they don't, but they're around the child because, the children are harmless. They really are. They're vulnerable. And children need to be taken care of. And when you got people out there, the mother and the father working two jobs, and they're never around at home or having somebody else watch the kid, that's when the grandparents, come to play. That's when a lot of the spirits come in. Just to keep the baby safe and to keep the baby smiling and trying to deflect all the ugliness that's going on in the house or going on in the world. It's deflecting. It really is. Tony Sabalos, long time no see, man. Merry Christmas. Hello, everyone. I want to be a paranormal investigator when I grow up. Well, you do, huh? Okay, well, let me tell you about Mr. Tony Sabalos from Texas. A very, very good paranormal investigator. And he'll never grow up. He already grew up. Good to see you, my friend. So good. But and these are a lot of things that you will experience when you go on a paranormal investigation. Okay? I mean, like I said at the beginning, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of hours. And there's a lot of stuff that you got to put up with. The number one rule, if you go to a cemetery or if you go to a battlefield, okay, you better get permission to go to that cemetery. You better get permission to go to that battlefield. Because if you don't, okay, you're going to get arrested for trespassing. That's right. Hey, Deb, good to see you. Debbie's place is haunted. There's a lot of good stuff down there in her house. What I want to do is bring in, hopefully get some customers that, that we help for a long time and bring them on and just have them discuss what was going on in their house. Sally says something definitely protected her. I can't tell you how many times she almost got hurt, but stopped within an inch of hitting a corner or something. Kurt says, vulnerable and open-minded, not blurred by the world's bullshit and responsibility. They deserve to be safe and have great childhoods and explore and grow. And that is so, so true, Kurt. So, from what Sally just said, okay, whoever the woman was in the room, or man, could be either or, okay, then they protect the babies. They protect the children. And I mean, if there's like a really bad spirit that wants to get in on that baby, it's not going to happen because I mean, you're going to have all the in-laws on it, on that bad spirit. Oh yeah, I wouldn't want to mess with a little Italian grandma. Oh no, 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 no. Or an Irish mother, grandma. No, I wouldn't want to do that. You know, it's even worse when they're in spirit because you can't see the things flying at you. You know what I mean? But so that's basically it. You know, the biggest recommendation I can do or tell you is if you want to go on a paranormal investigation, look for paranormal groups where you live. Okay, because they have the experience. Now, some paranormal groups, they have egos and they won't bring in anybody. If they let somebody go on an investigation, they won't teach them nothing. You just got to find the right person that can take you by the hand and do the investigation with. And remember, don't go into the group or go whatever they're investigating thinking you're the best paranormal investigator going, because you're not. You're not. They'll laugh at you or they'll tell you to leave. That's the good ones. You know, you don't know nothing. What you know, honestly, what you know is what you saw on TV, on all those TV shows that are out there. That's what you know. And granted, I'll be honest with you, there was a lot of people that started paranormal investigating because Taps did it. Taps started it out. And I will say this about Taps. And I am so grateful that they did come on. I think it was 2004 or 5, around there. And what they did was they opened up people's minds. And what I mean by that is, before this was even thought of, people were afraid to tell other people about the ghost that was happening in their house. They were afraid to speak. They were afraid that they were going to go put in Mayview Hospital, an insane asylum. A lot of people would think that they were weird or ridiculous. And it had nothing to do with them. People are afraid to talk about these experiences. But when Taps came out, it opened up a lot of people. It let the people speak. There were many, 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 many times that I would sit in the house and listen to the people's stories. And for me, I just let them talk. Let them talk and let them tell me about their hauntings or what's going on. And a lot of the people were grateful that they got to talk about it. Sometimes we never did the investigation. We just sat there and talked to them and let them speak and told them that they weren't crazy. No, they weren't crazy at all. You know, there's some groups out there that go out, oh, this is a grade A, you know, demonic, isolation, whatever. Bullshit. No, it ain't. People don't seem to realize who actually do. And I'm not talking all groups. I'm just talking some groups. Some groups out there. And if you have a problem with it, you know where I'm at. you can come see me and we can talk about it. But there are some groups out there that think they're God's gift to ghost hunting, and they're not. And I'm sure there's other groups out there who do Bigfoot, who do cryptids, who do aliens. You know, same thing. And you know what it all comes down to is egos. That's all it is everybody has an ego. And they want to be on TV. They want to have their own TV show. Heidi says, how I connected with Richard Estep. I had started an email to Boulder County Paranormal Society and then met him through something else. That's all you do is write an email. Thank you, Heidi, for sharing that. But that's all you got to do is write an email. You know, find the ghost hunting team on around your area. Write them a note, send them an email, give them a call, and then talk to them. And don't be afraid to ask questions, because there's no such thing as a stupid question. Let me repeat that. Especially in this field, there is no such things as a stupid question. Not at all. Joe Fox says human ego all the way, much like religion and politics. It's sad. Sean, you want to try to summon a UFO? I saw one, Heidi. I'm sorry, Heidi, Sally. I saw one going down Scott Road, going to work one night. It was so huge, it was big. And then I went down to the other block, and I'm thinking it's going to be there, but it disappeared. I'm not. You have to talk to Joe and all them about the UFO bit. You know, I'm not really big into it. The ego is not your amigo. Yeah, I like that. Your ego is not your amigo. But it's okay, you know, to go out and investigate, but go out and investigate with other people who know what they're doing, so you won't get burned. And I have seen a lot of people, and I'm being honest when I tell you this, I've seen a lot of people get burned. They got attachments to them. There's a lot of things you have to know about before you can even go out. My biggest one is don't call the spirit out. You have to show the spirit respect. That's the biggie. And how I say and how I explain that to people is, you know, if I go to Heidi's house and Heidi's a ghost there at her house, and I go investigate Heidi's house, I'm not going to call her every freaking name in the book so she can get a reaction out of me. I'm not going to talk down to her and, you know, just to get a reaction. You know, if I did that, she'd probably walk away and, you know, water her flowers or dance around with the fae. Yes, intentions are huge. If you just treat the spirit with respect, the spirit will respect you back. And that's the truth. And I'll live and die by that. If you respect the spirit will respect you. And you'll be surprised on investigations if you give them that respect. Okay, if you give them respect, you'll be surprised what kind of evidence you get. But before I close off, because we're getting close to the witching hour, like I was telling you about paranormal, she absolutely agrees. Thank you, Heidi. But, you know, you can have all the cameras, you can have all the videos, you can have whatever you want, any kind of top of the line equipment. But the best piece of equipment you can take with you on an investigation is you. Use your smell, use your hearing, and use your eyes. That is the best equipment to ever use. Joe says, I just bought the book Dictionary of Angels. Ooh. By Gustav Davidson. Hey, Miss Bishon, Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's to you, honey. Sally says, I get instant karma, both good and bad, rewarded for good behavior, punished when I'm an asshole. It feels like something is watching me all the time. I'm sorry that's happening to you, Sal. Sorry that's happening. Joni says, open mind. We'll figure it out someday, Sally. We will. But it is that time to go. I want to thank everybody for stopping in tonight. I hope some people got some stuff out of the show. And children, if you can, please go to your parents, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. And parents, please go to your children, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. And if you have no parents, and if you have no children, find somebody, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. On that note, good night, everybody. Be safe, and we'll see you Tuesday night.